writing so many times and what I was doing, and I this Hero with 1,000 Faces, one of the influential books of the world, they say. And that was about this Steven Pinker book, Better, because he gives examples of so many people. One example that he gives is about and this is growth delusion, and this is one more book about Steven Pinker and science tips. So again, Walter Isaacson. So if you think about it, all these books, Leonardo da Vinci, and this is also so Tony Joseph. This is early Indians. It is also about Indus. We'll go to the next thing. So I'll go to the top shelf. And this is Brilliant Blunders, and this is a book one of my friends gave, and this is about how so we think that all these scientists are brilliant people, or brilliant people do not make mistakes. This is about how these brilliant people had made mistakes, from Darwin to Einstein. So we usually make them we usually make them as above all criticism, but people are prone to criticisms. And this is about evolution, origin of a good society, or how culture originated and things like that. I use this for many of the classes that I take. And then this is one other book. This is A Life on Edge. This book is it's about the quantum physics, in a sense, how biology or there is one more book. I will maybe show you the book in the next video or something. That book talks about life or DNA. So that book talks about DNA. It is written by Schrödinger. He talks about DNA and physics, quantum physics. He links that. It is a lecture from 1950s, and there are evidences is what this book gives. It's very nice. And this is another book. So this is Leonardo da Vinci's book. So if you think about it, this is the book Walter Isaacson. So Walter Isaacson has written many books, as I told in the previous thing, and he has given this book very nice. And if you look at it, it's a book which gives all these pictures and things, and his original pictures will be there. So all these things are there in this book. And it's a very nice book, heavy book, but it's a very heavy nice book. And this is Broken Ladder, and this was a suggestion of so it is a book written in, or it's a book about India, or Anirudh Krishna. It's a fact about India, but it was suggested by Barack Obama. So think about how these people gather this knowledge, and this factfulness you should read. This everyone should read. It's a Hans Rosling, so it's a very nice book. And one more book, Poor Economics, by Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo. They got this Nobel, and then I got this book. And this is Quran. This was gifted to me by one of my very closest friend. But all these things, as I said, for Bhagavad Gita, it's a very hard book. Let us see if we are able to understand. And this is Ramachandra Guha's very big book about Gandhiji. So these two volumes are there. It's not a one volume. It's a very huge volume. And if you think about it, it's a very huge book. This is the book for one of the mains. I think one of the mains, I got bored of reading all these history books, and then I remember reading Gandhiji's these two volumes for history. And this is one more book, Gene, so Siddharth Mukherjee. And this is a very nice book. Anyone who is so I think Anudeep Durishetty, the topper of UPSC first rank, he has suggested this book as well. It's a very nice book. Everyone should read this book and understand. So understanding our personal gene, it's a very important thing. And this is Experiments with Truth, Gandhiji's book, his own autobiography, and it's a very nice one. Then here it's about Freedom at Midnight. These are all nice simple books about understanding history. This is Granville Austin's, so it's an Indian constitution, Granville Austin. And this Gurucharan Das, this book, The Difficulty of Being Good. This is a book about this jealousy, fear, and many other things through the characters of Mahabharata. It's a very innovative way of looking at all these ethical things. So for ethics, I remember for learning ethics or quoting this Mahabharata for ethics, I got this. And this is Paul Kalanidhi, or When Breath Becomes Air. So this is a book, I think, Paul Kalanidhi. This book actually, so I was following Alia Bhatt, and I think, so I'm a very big fan of her. And she had suggested this book. So it's a book about Indian in America, and he actually has cancer at the age of 35, and he wants to. So this is the person. So he wants to write a book, and he unfortunately or fortunately he does not complete the book, and his wife completes it. It's a very touching story. And this is main camp. So I wanted to read. So everyone kept saying, so this is a very great book, changed everything. So I wanted to read what this book was all about, or what the fuss was all about. But it's mostly a book which has a lot of racism. But anyway, so this is a book about India, and this one is very nice. So Daniel, so this person, Daniel Ergin, this quest or energy security, this is a very, very nice book. Anyone who wants to understand how our energy and how this oil and things like that have changed the geopolitics of the world should read this book. And anyone, so Daniel Ergin, I will suggest him a lot. And this is about racism. So exactly, so this is Angela Sani. This book is about racism, and I use it in many of the classes. So if you, and this is her, and very, so she is also a very very intelligent person, and she is of Indian origin, and she has written one more book, so that is in the other shelf. And I Contain Multitude, this is a very very micro way of looking at life, and it's a good book about how microbes, so we think that our whole life we are responsible for everything, our success, victory, but this book gives a very detailed analysis of how billions and billions of microbes are inside our body, which help us every day. And this is about presidents of war. This is about the wars that USA has fought, and Return of a King. So it's about the battle of India, Afghanistan, or the British Afghanistan. And one of the quotes I remember from this book, or a very important quote that I read from this book, is by Napoleon. So he says, which is the most important, so somebody asks Napoleon, which is the most important factor for victory in a war? So, and he says luck. So same way UPSC, there are many factors, but luck is a very, very important factor. And these are, so this is one of the gift given by my friend, saying that you're writing so many mains, the time is running out, so please write fast. This is also a gift, so all these things. So this is also by William, and it's about Last Mughal, and one more book is there. So this is Sumit Sarkar, and for history, and this is about industrialization. This is Raghuram Rajan, one more famous or favorite person, and this is Why We Sleep. And this is also suggested by my friend. So for because UPSC aspirants don't sleep at all, so we have to sleep properly. And this is also something which I got during my interview. And this is Romila Thapa's book, and Brill Bryson. This is also a book which I would suggest. A short history of nearly everything. This is a very nice book detailing everything that is present. This Emperor of All Maladies. This is one of the book which is written by Siddharth Mukherjee. If you happen to see, this is also Siddharth Mukherjee, Gene by Siddharth Mukherjee. And this it talks about cancer, and it's a biography of cancer, and it got a Pulitzer. So I remember reading it in the newspaper. Reading newspaper was a very important task during my first years of preparation. So I used to read paper religiously, and I got this book, and this book also, I think, Decoding Intolerance. This book also came in Hindu paper as suggestions. And this is another Ramachandra Guha's Savaging the Civilized. This is about Verrier Elwin. We in anthropology we read this, and Verrier Elwin is a very fascinating character. So this is Verrier Elwin. So in a sense, he changed the face of anthropology or tribal policy in India. So many of the tribal policy we have is thanks to him we have. And these are all pictures, and I think some of the pictures of the persons he married would be there. So he married twice, so this is his wife, and one more picture will also be there. This is him having awarded his or for his contribution. Freakonomics is also a good book. And then cases that, and this is one more Stephen Hawking book, so the grand design. So I think I went for interview when this book was released. So brief answers to the questions, and they asked me this question: do you read books? Yes, I read books. And they asked what is the book, name of the book written by Stephen Hawking. I said Grand Design, but there is one more book. That is the book that everyone reads. So, and this is Y.V. Reddy's book, and this is if you think about it, this is Y.V. Reddy, or our RBI governor. So this is his life history. So he has written in a very detailed. So this is Y.V. Reddy's book, and this is Ramachandra Guha's book of India. So it is a post-independence. Some people suggested it, and so that is that book. And this is one more book of Y.V. Reddy, and this when I started preparing Y.V. Reddy, or that global crisis, 2008 crisis was there. So it was handled very well by Y.V. RBI governor. So RBI governors, he handled it very well. So I got fascinated by knowing what he did and things like that. This is Who Moved My Interest Rate. This is also written by one of the next RBI governor. So Y.V. Reddy was there. Then Dr. Subbarao was there. And one more book. So this is about how elections evolved, and it's written by our Chief Election Commissioner. It's a nice book. And this Who Killed, or The Men Who Killed Gandhi. This is one of the book that I read in the beginning of how the plot for killing Gandhi happened. Banker to the Poor. This is Muhammad Yunus, and many other books. So it is this is Prabhakaran. So it's about the Sri Lankan issue, any other thing. And this is also one book which is so if you think about it, this book by Steven Pinker. This is a very huge book. Look at the size itself is daunting, but it talks about, or this person gives detailed factual evidences of how we as a society, we think that our society is not evolving. We think that we are having a very harsh, or we are. And that was about this Steven Pinker book. This was Steven Pinker's The Better. So it's actually, he has given this name, The Better Angels of Our Nature. This was from Lincoln's famous final, or not final, it was one of the most important Gettysburg speech that he gave, and from that it came The Better Angels of Our Nature. And this is Einstein. So again, Walter Isaacson. So if you think about it, all these books about these famous people he has written. So one was about Jennifer Doudna that I showed, and then one was about Leonardo da Vinci, and this is also so Tony Joseph. This is Early Indians. It is also about Indus Valley civilization, of how we came about to this Indian subcontinent is what this book should be written, or this book should be read by anyone who is preparing for civil services, and any other person who wants to know about India. And because usually we keep talking about sons of soil. So who are the so we usually never talk about daughters of soil and things like that. So he actually gives this picture of India being like a pizza, or an amalgam of so many migrations and so many people, so many wonderful things. So there is a saying, so like this, there is as Prime Minister said, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. So whoever wanted to be a part of India are part of India. And this is Rage Inside the Mission. And this book, actually this is a good book. Anyone who wants to know what is this algorithm of how this algorithm, or this Facebook, or how this Twitter and the social media handles are creating this divide among people. It's a book about that. How and it was suggested by Angela Sani. So she suggested this book once because she had written about this book or this racism, and she faced a lot of criticism, or she faced a lot of violent tweets, and she had suggested this book to read this book, and that is that book. And this is the shelf. And this is the one more shelf is there, and these are actually my notes. So in civil services I took a lot of notes, so all these are my notes, and many of the things are there. So we'll go to the next shelf. It is one more shelf is there.